What is up, guys? Rick Hackus here, and the question we're asking today is, does Destiny hate casual players? Now, this type of sentiment I've heard a lot more recently, certainly in the comments of my videos, in places like the Destiny subreddit, just a lot of players kind of feeling left out because they don't play as much as others. Now, I'm sure the best example that we're all familiar with is that a lot of players can kind of get discriminated against when they're trying to join certain raids if they don't have the best equipment. I'm sure you all have heard that if players don't have 331 Galahorns, it can be hard to get into raid lobbies on places like Destiny LFG. And this is kind of a problem because if you are the type of player who just plays the game casually, you can't play that much. Maybe you can only play on weekends or something because of your job, because of school. You're kind of getting more and more left behind, whereas a lot of the other players who play this game a lot are just advancing and getting beyond the reach of what you can foreseeably achieve. Now, we're going to go through kind of why this is, why casual gamers are feeling left out, and also what Bungie can do to fix this. Now, what I'm going to say might surprise you considering what I just said, saying that casuals are feeling that they're certainly being left out of the game. But the truth is, Destiny was made for casuals. Remember that Destiny has a rating of T for teen. There's a lot of things in the game that point towards that it was made for the younger gamers, certainly, and casual gamers. Why do you think every single strike is pretty much the same via a different location? You run through, kill a bunch of enemies, kill one big boss every time. The mechanics don't differ, and the missions are shockingly similar too. Have you ever wondered why you have to let Dinklebot open a door every single time there's an objective? There's never really any puzzle solving, except for the raids, which we're going to talk about in a bit. But some of this game's main flaws that it gets pointed out for, its repetitiveness, really point towards that this game was developed with casuals in mind. Things are very simple, the user interface is very clean and very clear. Again, not all of these things are bad, but the way the game is constructed, its simplicity, its repetitiveness, really points towards that this game was developed for casual gamers, for the wide audience. And again, rated T for teen, that really is a huge chunk of evidence to support this. Now, what I just said comes with a little asterisk because, I believe that this game was very much on the whole made for casual gamers, except for the end game content. And I think this is where the problem lies. There is a quantum leap of difficulty between the 24 and the 26 strike playlists and the Nightfall and the raids, which is crazy because that's the natural progression. Once you're done with the 26 or 24 strike playlist, remember that people without the DLC only have access to the 24 strike playlist, your next logical step is to do the raid, I guess the Vault of Glass at this point. Now, the mechanics from any of the level 24 strikes to the Vault of Glass are mind-bogglingly more difficult. Just going from a mindless strike running through, let's say, Mars to shoot at the chain gun asshole for 10 hours, again, that's as difficult as it gets, just popping your head up, shooting at him, and going back behind cover. That's it. There's no other mechanics. Compare that with the Vault of Glass, which has incredibly difficult mechanics. I remember when I made my Vault of Glass for Dummies, I remember just sitting there like, how the shit am I going to explain this to people? Because it's pretty difficult. Like, okay, you got to go into this portal, kill this gatekeeper. Then this gatekeeper is going to trigger Minotaurs to spawn from here. Go to this conflux. You then have to go over to the next portal, but make sure half your team splits off. Like, that is a lot more difficult. A lot more difficult when compared to the 24 strikes. And this is the problem. There seems to be a huge leap in difficulty with no transitional phase towards grinding these strike playlists and doing the very simplistic missions to then suddenly doing the raids and the nightfalls. Even though the nightfalls are the same thing, the amount of damage that the enemies do and like how squishy your character is makes them a lot more difficult than the normal raids, or strikes I should say. So this giant leap in difficulty from very simplistic right up to quite complicated is what makes a lot of players, a lot of casual players, feel left out. Imagine, alright guys, I've been playing the strikes, I think it's my first time, I'm going to try the raid, I'm level 29, let's do Crota's End. You are going to be absolutely out of your mind confused. It's very difficult if you are coming at it from zero experience. And again, and most importantly, there's nothing really even close to it in difficulty and complexity that you can really do, aside from the other raid, that fill the gap between Strike Playlist and raids. So the solution for this, even though it's not feasible in this Destiny, for the next Destiny, for Destiny 2, what they need to do is have a Borderlands style replayability of the campaign. Right now you just play through it once, and aside from doing heroic daily missions, there's no incentive to play the missions again. If you had a Borderlands 2 style replay of the mission, so you start again from mission 1, but it starts at level 20, you can again ascend in difficulty, so eventually at the very end, last levels, you're doing those at around, level 29. So it's much more of a traditional ramp in difficulty rather than what Destiny has now, which is just a straight jump in difficulty. But another huge jump in difficulty exists between just the raid, let's say Crota's End, and then the hard mode of that raid. Hard mode takes squishiness to a whole new level. Enemies lower your health just by looking at you. And this is where a ton of casual players feel extremely left out. They have done the transition between strikes and they've done a few raids, but going from just doing normal raids, even if you are slightly competent in doing the normal raid, going suddenly to the hard mode of that raid is a monumental leap, and it requires the best armor and weapons in the game. And herein lies the problem. Since almost all of the weapons are completely random and the chances of getting the stuff you want is monumentally low, if you're a player sitting there without the Hunger of Crota and without the Galahorn, there's really nothing anyone can tell you to say, go and get these weapons. Other than just playing the game and hoping for the best, you're just going to be left out until you get some of the best weapons in the game. And it's unfortunate because a lot of the content that these players may have paid for is locked away and only achievable through hard mode of the raid. It doesn't help the fact that the hard mode is also full of glitches, making it pretty damn frustrating and really hurting new players like trying out. If it's your first time doing the hard mode raid, you're really nervous, you are hoping the other players know what they're doing, and if you keep dying for stuff maybe that you didn't even do, tempers are frayed and you're gonna have a really bad experience. People are brutal on Destiny LFG if they get mad because they keep dying on a hard mode raid, and it's just unfortunate that the community has come to this because it's just so damn frustrating a lot of the time. Again, it's turning a lot of these casual gamers off. They don't want to try something for the first time and then just get yelled and screamed at and kicked out of the game because of something they didn't even necessarily know or do. Now, I think the solution to this problem is actually pretty simple. Again, the reason why all these new and casual players are forcing themselves into the hard mode raids when they're simply not ready and they don't have the equipment to do so is because they want access to a lot of the good weapons that are locked away and only achievable on hard mode. The solution is what Bungie has actually already done with the helmet. Make these rewards available to get on normal with extremely low chances, again like the helmet, and then make them much higher chances on the raid on hard. So if there's a 20% chance to get the Oversoul Edict after beating the beginning portion of Crota's End on hard, there would be a 2% chance of getting it on normal. Now, I know there's some people writing comments right now saying how stupid I am and how are people supposed to know I'm an extreme Destiny gamer if you can get the hard mode stuff on normal. But I feel like this is the best solution. People who are really intense about this game, which there are those people, can still play hard mode and get absolutely decked out with all the weapons. I'm not saying that you should be able to get something like the Abyssal Defiant easily on normal. I want it to be a 1 or 2% chance, very, very small, but just the ability to get the hard mode stuff on normal mode, again with very, very small chances, will make it so that casual players don't feel like they have to do the raid on hard. This is going to help both communities. Casual gamers, again, can just do the raids on normal and be able to still achieve the stuff they want to achieve, and because they're just maybe doing it on normal, they won't get into the hardcore game. If you're like a hardcore gamer, the last thing you want is someone who doesn't really have the experience or the weapons in your game making you die. Again, I feel the best solution for casuals feeling left out because they simply don't have the equipment or experience required to complete the massive leap in difficulty is to simply have the hard mode rewards available at a much smaller chance in normal. This will let casual gamers at their own pace acquire the gear that's necessary to eventually let them play in the hard mode content, while also satisfying the hardcore community because they're going to be decked out in all of the latest gear well before anyone who plays on normal will be. Now, of course, extremely exclusive weapons and armor like the Necrochasm should stay hard mode only as a show of how endgame you really are, but I think Bungie can make exceptions with the other gear as it did with the helmets. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please remember to rate and share it if you actually want to see this idea implemented. And as always, have a good day.